Now, one of the biggest issues people face on social media when creating content is What's up guys? Welcome back to my channel, the place to learn how to improve your content so you can build influence, income and community on social media. Now today I want to talk about specifically the mindset you need to create content, an important choice you need to make, but also the 4-step formula that I personally used to create content that enabled me to grow my Instagram page from 0 to 100,000 followers in just over 9 months. So without further ado, let's get into the first point, which is the choice you need to make between being a perfectionist or a creator. Now, one of the biggest issues people face on social media when creating content is the idea of perfectionism. They think that every single post they create has to be perfect for them to succeed, and it's simply not true. When you're a perfectionist, ultimately what happens is you get burnt out. You waste time, you procrastinate, you don't enjoy the process, and it just never ends in a good place. It always ends in disaster. So the alternative is to be what I simply just call a creator. Someone who enjoys the process of creating content every day, who's not afraid to try new things, to experiment, who's not afraid to actually fail, and is willing to give up their ego and understand that not everything is going to be perfect. Not everything's going to work. Not everything is going to be liked by people. But that's just what makes it so special when creating content, because you're constantly learning. And that's the whole point, that if you're not learning, and I'm going to get onto this very soon, you can't succeed. So being a creator is the best way to create content, because that's how you learn. That's how you grow as a person. That's how you grow as a page. So you have to get rid of perfectionism, and I want to show you a very quick diagram to visualize this concept for you. So let's jump into my computer. Okay guys, so I've got this diagram here so you can see. Let's imagine this grey line in the middle is your average. Anything above that is above average, and anything below is below average. The red line is a creator and the black line is a perfectionist. Now quite simply, as a perfectionist, yes, you will make progress. You will always be posting content, so naturally you will move along this line. But the issue is you never exceed your potential. You always remain average, and eventually over time you hit a brick wall. That's when burnout happens, that's when you quit, that's when you give up, and ultimately that's why you don't want to be a perfectionist. The alternative is the creator. Now you might start off below average because you're experimenting, you're trying different things, you're trying new things maybe you've not tried before, but the whole point is you go up and down. Sometimes you perform below average, other times you perform above average, and again you might drop below, and again you might go above. But the whole point is there is a consistent upwards trajectory for you as a creator, because ultimately over time as a creator you will always move above average. So within this first phase of going up and down, this is when you're trying new things, this is when you're building connections, you're building your community. But it's at this pivotal moment here where you move above average and you stay above average. That's when you start to build influence. That's when you can start to build an income. But that's not possible as a perfectionist. But the most important thing as a creator is it's sustainable. When you really enjoy the process, nothing will get in your way of doing it. So be a creator, get rid of perfectionism, drop your ego, and just create content and enjoy it. So let's jump back to the camera and I'll quickly explain my 4-step formula I've been using to do this entire process. Before I get into my 4-step formula, just very quickly, are you a creator or are you a perfectionist? Drop it in the comments below and let's have a discussion. The first point is to commit. Now quite simply, you need to commit to one idea, one direction, one type of content and stick to it. Very simple. The second point is to act. It's to act on that one idea. So let's say, for example, you commit to creating carousels on Instagram. Well, the next step, act, is to actually do it. Pretty simple. The third step is to learn. Now, this is the part that most people don't actually do. They commit to something, they act on it, but they never learn from it. And that's why most people remain average. Now, by learning, how can you learn? Quite simply, just listen to your feedback. Listen to your metrics, how many likes you get, how many comments you get, how many shares, how many saves, but then also dig deeper. The comments you are getting, what are those comments about? Are people actually engaging with your content, or are they just leaving emojis? All these things together make a big difference. So get the feedback from your community, learn, and then for the fourth step is adapt. Once you've learned what works and what doesn't, you have to adapt. You have to change your strategy so you can keep moving in the right direction. There's no point learning or getting feedback from people if you're not going to implement it. Now this is the key part where you really do have to drop your ego, because sometimes what you think is going to work doesn't work. And you get told by your community from the feedback you received what you should be doing instead. Now, yes, it's a balancing act. You have to work out what you enjoy to do, but you also have to work out what your audience wants to see. And it's the balancing act between those two things that helps you strike gold, that helps you to then push on to the next level. But there's one more thing that you have to remember, and that's maybe a fifth step, which is to repeat. You have to do this pretty much every single day, because you can do this 4-step process in both the micro and the macro. So on the micro level, it's creating content every day, committing to posting a piece of content, actually doing it, adapting and learning from it. But on the macro level, it's quite simply the entire direction of your page, committing to maybe a certain niche, a certain direction, and then over the long term, you then can learn, you can adapt, and you repeat that process. So when you do this 4-step formula, both in the micro and the macro, that's when you see the real growth. Just remember, the most important thing is to learn. The most important thing is to adapt, and the most important thing is to repeat it and keep doing it consistently. But remember as well, you have to get rid of any sort of ego you have. You have to understand that what you think is value, what you think works, isn't going to always work. It's not always going to be enjoyed by people. So listen to the feedback, believe in the feedback you get, and drop your ego and just have the integrity and the willingness to adapt and change your ways if you need to, because that's the only way you can succeed and help people on social media. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit subscribe, drop a like on this video, and also hit that notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next one.